I came here to chew bubblegum and live stream, and I'm all out of live stream. That's awesome. Okay, so we're back, and I hope it works this time. I had to, I restarted my router, and I got a sandwich. Can you guys hear us? Is everything okay with the sound?
Yeah, it's coming through now.
Okay, so super technical difficulties, guys. I hope it doesn't happen again. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the weather, or maybe it's just bad luck. But we're back now, and we're gonna get back to what we were doing. We were actually in the middle of doing our top five this week, so we're gonna go back to that. Let me just go ahead and pull that up here. Um, all right, so we're looking at the top five support characters in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes this week, courtesy of the Alliance and good old Maurice. And what do you have to say about this, Maurice? Who is number five? Who's the first one we're looking at here?
I believe that is going to be Rex, correct?
Yes.
We're on the same page here. Yeah, okay. We got Rex, good old Rex, support character, mainly for his leader ability. It's like the poor man's crutch. If you don't have top shelf or competitive mods, it's kind of a way to kind of cheat some turn meter. One of the few characters does like an AOE tenacity up, the better buffs in the game. Has a nice special move, does some pretty good damage, especially against characters with higher health. It's like a health pool based damage. Very good all around character. Has a serviceable ship, pretty good ship. I don't think he's made too many of our top five, so this is interesting to see Rex here. You still see him on the meta report.
He's still
Kind
one
of
of the
slipping a little bit, but he's
he's
always
still
useful.
he's still one of the most relevant characters in the game. Still, I mean, again, he's a character that's pretty much versatile. You can use him. He's the anti-speed meta, as far as what is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he is. So, I mean, he'll always be relevant because of that. I mean, his ability to give turn meter to others based upon getting attacked is the only counter there is to speed right now in the game. Well, not the only counter, but I mean, one of the main counters that there is to speed in the game right now, because he can manipulate the turn meter to get your team to go faster. So, I mean, ultimately, if you attack or you do an area effect attack to a Rex-led team, they're all going to end up going before you go. Even if you're all faster. So, I mean, he is still a squishy character. He doesn't have a Zeta. Eventually, when I'm assuming at some point they'll do some sort of a clone rework or something like that. Whenever that happens, I'm sure he'll get some love there too. They did a clone rework a while, but they gave them all Zetas, right? So I
Yeah, they
mean,
gave him Zetas, but they haven't been
like reworked.
real. No, they have. I don't think they've been reworked, and they've kind of, since the creation of some of these super, raid teams, the HAAT teams, they've kind of fallen off the map. They don't have very much. I don't know. They're not really relevant right now, outside of Rex and maybe fives.
Mhm.
Rex is very good.
Rex is
And we've
also
always seen like the meta shifts, and then Rex comes back. Like Rex, at some point, will be a counter for some new team. He's not bad for the Night Sisters. He's very anti AOE. Like when Rex became free to play, that was kind of like the death of the Lando meta, because he just gives so much turn meter. Like AOE does more harm than good.
well, he does so many things. I mean, you're thinking
Yeah.
about. I mean, he cleanses. He gives tenacity up, which is tremendous, right? I mean, he gives tenacity up to the entire team, which can help you, especially if you get up against, let's say, a Night Sister team. He can pretty much protect you guys, or protect them from getting plague at the offset of the encounter, and then. If let's say anybody gets stunned in the beginning of the match, let's say you're facing the team and you have R2D2, and also on top of that, I mean, he's got a turn meter reduction with his basics, so he's fantastic for the Rancor raid. He's also got a leader ability that really works with any character in the game. So he's somebody that is the ultimate hodgepodge leader. I mean, you could kind of put him in front of. I mean, you could put Rex in front of Wampa. Ray Jedi training, CLS, and old Ben Kenobi, and you could win arena matches with that team. You know what I'm saying? You could put
Well,
Rex.
Ikuto just said that in the chat. He's like, Rex and Sunfac, they're disgusting for TW. Rex in any 4 characters, like, just kind of take your leftovers. You can kind of build a semi-viable team, with 4 makeshift characters in Rex. It's pretty cool.
You can use Rex and insert pretty much anybody, and as long as they're if they're relevant in the meta right now, you can make that team work. I mean, of course, there's going to be some characters that synergize better with him, or help manipulate turn meter with him, or help with the tenacity up. I'm saying as far as that goes, also for example, like characters like maybe Stormtrooper Han that give out turn meter to everybody. Whenever he gets attacked, that could just boost up or bolster the turn meter that you get from Rex's leader ability as well. So characters like that might synergize a little bit better, but you could pretty much put any character behind Rex and he'll be good, and that team can possibly win. And you're right. I mean, eventually we'll see Rex in the meta again, because there'll be some team out there that is just super duper fast, and you'll need to be able to beat them. And the only way you can beat them is by turn meter manipulation, and then you insert Rex, and that'll be how you get to counter that team. So we'll see him there at some point. Moving along though, number 4, best support character in the game is going to be none other than Asajj Ventress. And I know this is your favorite here, Maurice, so go ahead and take it away.
Well, I actually had to double check to make sure she was a support character, just because she does massive amounts of damage. Like at first instinct, I thought she was an attacker. I was kind of shocked when I was sorting by support, and she was in there. Just does crazy amounts of damage with her passive. Her leader's great. She does have an AoE, and she's also got an AoE Dispel, which is, I guess, why she's support. The AoE Dispel gets rid of everything. And it's not like, B2, you do his AoE Dispel, and if a character has Foresight, they'll still retain their buffs, just lose the Foresight. Asajj takes it all. Foresight, all the buffs, takes it, and has a chance to remove turn meter. Her basic does great damage, has a stun attached to it. I think it's 50% stun to stun the enemy. And just, she's got the stacking offense, especially you pair her with these, the low geared zombies and stuff. She's getting lots of stacking offense and then crit chance and turn meter. If you put the Zeta on it, she gets guaranteed turn meter. It's just all around great kid. And really, her and Talzin are why the Knights just, we saw them both in the meta report. She's something else. She's part of these HAAT teams I was just talking about. She's a piece, some of these 30 million plus comps we're seeing in the raid now. She's in a lot of those teams. Yeah, just a fantastic character. Lots of health steal. She's squishy, but if you can keep her alive, she will heal herself all the way back up, which is why she's good for the raids, especially because the raid enemies are only going to do a set amount of damage, and if you can just if you can withstand the big hits, she will heal herself up. So she keeps going and going and going. It's good stuff.
Again, just in going with the theme here, she does so many different things. I mean, she's so versatile, as any good support character should be. And going from her stun on her basic to the stacking offense to her AoE Dispel to the heal to the area of effect attack to her leader ability, being a fantastic leader to kind of give she gives speed to everyone, right?
Or she gives
she gives speed.
Yeah, well, she gives turn meters that go below 100% health.
Right, and she gives 30. Was it 30 speed?
Yes, she gives. Yeah, it's a speed lead. Sorry, 30 speed to everybody.
Yeah,
and then also the passive speed she gets herself. I didn't even mention that. She gets 15 speed for every enemy that's not
debuffed. Right, so to start the encounter, she's fast.
Buffed, yeah.
Or buffed, yeah. So I mean, just in general, like she's got so many tools now. I mean, I remember joking, especially with with Grande back when the game first came out, about how he loved his Night Sisters and Asajj Ventress, and how she was always a useless character, and she was. I mean, she definitely needed some love because she's a huge character from the Clone Wars. She's I don't know why she's not considered a Sith apprentice in some way, but she was an apprentice to Count Dooku. So I mean, she Obviously has a Night Sister synergy. She's got a fantastic story. She's a really compelling character. So I mean, of course, she should be a very viable character in this game. And really, I mean, one of the first characters that I farmed because I thought that she would be good because I recognized her from the Clone Wars. And this is before I really knew anything about the game when I first started. I farmed Asajj Ventress out of the squad arena shipments. And man, was I disappointed with the fact that I could have made another investment that would have made more sense at that time. But glad I have her now because she's definitely an important character in the meta, and with the new Night Sister squad, the jury's still out on who's the better leader, whether it's her or Mother Talzin, but I really don't think you could do wrong with either one. So. Moving along to number 3, we have our number 3 support character in the game, which is Darth Nihilus. I was shocked to see that he was a support character as well, personally. Why do you think he's number 3?
Well, I mean, he has the Annihilate. He one-shots character. He's got an AoE that increases the cooldowns of the enemy 100% if they're debuffed. So, I mean, that alone, I mean, I think I could find uses for him even without the Annihilate. I was getting a nice leader. There are better options. His basic is a Dispel. So he's got, just like Sunfax, I mentioned him in the chat earlier, could Dispel on a basic. All sorts of just utility. He's pretty tanky, but he might not have very high armor. He doesn't seem too difficult to kill. But yeah, and he's got a Zeta. Gets health down on his Zeta to the enemies, which it's okay.
Well, what's important about it is it's a debuff, and being that he does the with Drain Force, he increases the cooldowns with any debuff characters. It's important to have that Zeta because that will just continue. You're basically guaranteed to have debuffs on at least a portion of the enemies, unless they have a Dispel, right? So I mean, it's kind of an added bonus because if for every turn, I mean, by the time Nihilus goes, if he's unless he's the fastest character on your team, he'll have a chance to at least increase the cooldowns for a couple of your opponents. So, pretty cool.
Well, he's on this list for Annihilate. He one shots character.
He's on this list for Annihilate.
Foresight, unavoidable, one shot.
It's not just Annihilate, okay? He increases cooldowns on people's abilities. He dispels with a basic attack, which is fantastic. I mean, you can dispel every taunt with just a basic. Obviously, Annihilate is a one-shot kill, the only one-shot kill that we have in this game that's guaranteed. You cannot revive, so if you're facing a Night Sister squad, Annihilate is permanent. They will stay dead. And on top of that, he also has, that unique, which spreads debuffs, health down, and his leader ability, I think, is a cool leader ability that will possibly have some interesting benefits in the future. Maybe when we have some more Sith that can benefit from that. So we'll see. Maybe if his leader ability ever becomes something that's a good option for Arena again in the future, but. Again, he's just got so much utility with that area of effect attack that reduces the cooldown of Annihilate and also increases the cooldowns of everybody else's abilities, and that basic Dispel. Plus, he does a decent amount of damage, and he's just an all-around great character. I mean, he's probably top 5 character in the game, top 6 character in the game, period. So, but moving along to number 2, our number 2 support character in this game is going to be Grand Admiral Thrawn, and I'm pretty sure I can think of a few reasons why you put him here. So, what do you have?
Well, it's Thrawn. I mean, he's got Fracture, which is great in raids. He's a must-have for raids. He's got the Grand Admiral's command. Debuffing cleansing characters, giving them protection back. His basic has a goofy little mechanic on it, gives speed up that turns into ability block, and if they have ability block, he stuns them. Does good damage. I think people forget how much damage he really does because he's usually in Fracture. If you use him in an Empire squad, he's fractured the opponent. Your Empire characters can slow him down to prolong the fracture. Just leadership is amazing with that Zeta. You get the protection and health back every time they gain a buff. It's just an all-around great kit. His capital ship is currently the best one in the game, so he is the fleet commander of that. a must-have character. You know, this get your Phoenix. I mean, you guys have to get Grand Admiral Thrawn. TW, he's priceless. I mean, you have to have him for TW at the higher tier. He creates a whole new team for you. And some people use him on defense, some for offense. It doesn't. However, you guys want to decide to use him, it's going to be useful.
He's a fantastic character. I mean, all around, he's got a ton of viability in pretty much every facet of this game. I mean, from territory wars to dark side territory battles to raids to arena to galactic war. I mean, anything you could possibly think of, this guy has a place in it. His utility is tremendous. He's again, like you said, a great fleet captain or a capital ship. So his capital ship is the best in the game. His ability to fracture is unbelievable. He brings a new debuff to the game, which is fantastic, and it also basically is not only a dispel, but it also freezes a character for a very long time. He counterattacks. He's able to give himself added protection, so he can manipulate protection and give protection to others. So he can basically just continue to give protection to characters like Shore Trooper that can continue to taunt. And if you time it correctly, he can be a real nuisance there. And his leader ability also gives protection to his allies. And his unique ebb and flow. I think what does that do exactly? It gives.
Well, every time a Empire character uses a special ability while he's in the fracture mode, it reduces his turn meter to prolong that fracture. So, like in the raids, you hit that the red B2 droid with your fracture.
Right.
If you're using like Tarkin or Vader or whoever you want to use, every time they use an ability, it's gonna slunk his turn meter down and just keep that B2 from countering. It's got a little different mechanic for the PvE and PvP content. I think all of his abilities do. He's got a very interesting kit, just all around.
Just all around. Again, he can give 100% turn meter to any character. With his ability, he can basically freeze a character. He does a decent amount of damage, and overall, he's just pretty much a character that's a necessity in this game. Definitely a top 5 character in this game overall, without a doubt. So fantastic. But that brings us to number 1. And if you want to go ahead and do the drum roll. R2-D2.
Surprise. R2-D2. Yes, you guys know him. You guys love him. Shock on the basic. Smoke screen, making all the characters stealth. You got an AoE, an AoE move that burns. It's a new mechanic. It's a unique mechanic called the burn. It's like damage over time plus evasion down. Just crazy amounts of utility. Combat analysis is one of his Zeta options, and that's the one that every time a light side ally crits, they cleanse themselves. So you don't have to use Akbar, you don't have to use Rex, you don't have to use Thrawn, who we just talked about for the cleanse element. They're going to do it automatically. And then the last ability, Number Crunch, why he's probably on this list to begin with, is he just spreads stats across the board to all the characters, or light side characters that you're using based on his build. So you can mold him however you want. You can make him heavy on offense to spread more offense. You can make him stack him with health and protection to spread that around. Potency, you can completely mold him to however you want him to affect the rest of your squad. He's just unbelievable character. He does okay damage, but he's there for the stat bump, like the stat boosting that Zeta provides on Number Crunch.
Well, I mean, he overall is pretty much everything. I can't imagine a better support character in this game ever coming to this game. Now, you look at the support characters, a few months back to even a couple of years back. I mean, characters like Grandmaster Yoda, I think would have been in the top as support characters. Let's say back in 2016. There's definitely some other characters that would have been on this list as well. But when you think about the top support character, I mean, he's in pretty much almost every faction in this game. I mean, he's a rebel, he's a resistance, he's a Galactic Republic, he's a droid, he's a light side character. He has the ability to pretty much taunt or pick a character that's going to taunt for you because of the smoke screen. I mean, you can just basically pick the highest health character and have that character be like an instant taunt. So he basically chooses a taunt for you, which is awesome. And then he has the ability to stun a character with his basic. With Burn, the debuff, I mean, he reduces evasion. So if there ever was an evasion lead that happened to creep back into the meta at some point, like Old Ben or Darth Maul or any character like that, he's gonna be a direct counter to teams like that. But yes, I mean, number crunch and his ability to spread the the added health, offense, and all those other buffs that he gives or the benefits that he gives to the rest of his squad is fantastic. And I mean, you can't think of a character that really does more to spread the love to his teammates and benefits himself as well. I mean, it has absolute necessity in this game, in pretty much every facet of it, light side territory battles, raids, arena. I mean, this character is in pretty much every arena team you can have out there, and he's a character that you're going to definitely want to go for right away. I mean, if I had to say there was one legendary character besides CLS that you should go for right away, I would say R2D2 would be that character for sure, because I mean, you could pretty much plug him into any squad and he's going to instantly give you a benefit, and I think I don't see that changing anytime soon. So he'll be at the top of this list, I think going into 2019 for sure. So but that's our top five support characters for the game. We do have an honorable mention, and this is your boy Chopper.
Yeah, this was kind of a homer pick, but that's all right. He is he's a support, but he is a taunting support, which I believe he's the only one that has a taunt. I think, well, I guess BB-8 kind of taunts if you put that Omega on him with all droids, but he taunts. He's lightning fast, so you can get the taunt like however you need him for your specific team comp. He can taunt first. He can pull debuffs down. Or excuse me, he can debuff the opposing team and remove turn meter. So like you go in versus like a base, for instance, your very first move in the match, you can pull that taunt, pull that retribution off base. Have a chance to remove 20% turn meter from all the other team, and then your whole team can get in there and just fire away. You get your whole, all 5 of your characters to go before the other team. You can even take a chance, even take a shot. He's unbelievable in the Phoenix squad, giving all that the health back. He heals himself with the protection up every time he gets hit. Basically, he gets protection up. His basic attack, and why he's relevant again. You see him in these Jedi Ray teams with all the other droids. They reworked his basic a little bit. Like every time he flings his rock, he gives a support, or excuse me, he gives a buff, and has a chance to remove or to reduce the cooldowns of any Phoenix and now droid allies. So he's in there with that R2, he's in there with that BB-8, really speeding them up, getting things going. It's a great character. I wish he was a little better. The AI is not very good with him. He's definitely better on the offensive end because you can kind of decide if you want to taunt, if you want to cleanse, if you want to basic. He is better on the offensive end. But
I mean, that's basically the deal with any character. I mean, nobody's going to use the character better in specific situations than you are, because that when you're mixing factions like characters from Resistance and characters from Phoenix and characters that are rebels, there are certain benefits to why you're putting these guys together, and they're going to work better based when you're controlling them. So I mean, ultimately you'll be able to kind of just pick the ability that is going to give a benefit to them. Like for example, I was telling you how I was running Ezra Bridger in Arena with Ray Jedi training and with BB-8, R2D2, Old Ben, and if it was done correctly on defense, Ezra Bridger would call BB-8 in for the assist every single time, just like Ray Jedi training would. But unfortunately, on defense, the computer doesn't do that. So, you're not going to get the max benefit out of that squad unless you control them yourself. Now, just talking about Chopper here, yeah, I mean, obviously the rework that they did where he now gets called in for an assist is fantastic. His Dispel is great. The taunt, the fact that he has a taunt is fantastic. And I mean, overall, with that ability to reduce the cooldowns of droid allies, he becomes a really interesting addition to the Rey Jedi training team with BB-8 and R2-D2, and maybe even possibly a future droid team if we ever get, let's say, a rework on somebody like General Grievous or something like that. So, we could see some interesting droid meta in the future because that droid rework is coming, and it's coming fast. So I'm looking forward to that, and whenever it does happen, I'm sure this guy will be on that squad without a doubt. So we'll see. But again, that rounds out the top 5 support characters, courtesy of the Alliance, Remote Azab, and good old Maurice. Thank you for checking it out. Let's go back to the game here, and let's try to answer some questions. I mean, I know we had some questions before. I know that chat has been wiped now, so we're going to have to go ahead and try to either, I don't know if Maurice wrote down any of them, or we're going to have to go ahead and go back. And if you guys have any questions you'd like to talk, or any questions you'd like to ask on the stream, go ahead and type them in there now. Or if you have any topics you'd like to discuss specifically, go ahead and type them into the chat now, and we'll try to get those here before we round out the rest of the show. So, but any final thoughts there on the top 5? Anybody else that you would have, now in retrospect, thought you would have put in there instead of somebody that we did?
Not really. This is pretty. This one, we got Thrawn, we got Nihilus, we got R2. I mean, those are going to be obviously in the top. That's 3 of the 5 right there. And Rex, just because of his utility, this one didn't seem too tough. Not as like that one that week we did the top 5 Omegas. That was tough. That took a lot of thinking about it, writing them all down, crossed them off one by one. This one was a lot easier to kind of pin down.
Agreed. But yeah, I mean, do we have any questions or anything that you were able to get down from the previous stream, or is that all gone now?
I've got a couple of them here. One of them I kind of tried to answer because he asked it right before we started having the difficulties. Hans Omar was asking what's like the bare minimum to use in that assault battle that you have open there. The Separatist one, I believe you can use the Ewoks, the Resistance, or like Ugnaught, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one we have now?
Yeah.
I think that's the one that's live. And if you have Zeta Finn, you can easily probably do Gear 8, Gear 9 characters. If you don't, probably want to have a little higher on the Resistance, just to because that Dooku at the end, if you can't drop that stun on me, is kind of difficult. Yeah, the ground war assault battles.
You can use Amilyn Holdo and Rose Tico if you guys want to go ahead and buy those characters.
Yeah, he was asking how to do it without Jedi Training Ray or BB-8. I guess it doesn't have those characters. So the 5 old school Resistance is fine.
Unless you have really good Ewoks, but I don't understand why you would have really good Ewoks and not good Resistance. I mean, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. But I would say, if the bare minimum, if let's say you don't have Rey Jedi training and you don't have, for example, BB-8, you could probably get away with, let's say, a Finn lead and a Zeta with Rey, Resistance Trooper, Resistance Pilot, and R2-D2 and Poe. Right? Is that right? So Finn Zeta, Rey, Resistance. Oh, sorry, Finn Zeta, Rey, Resistance Trooper,
R2-D2, Trooper Pilot, Finn, Poe, old Rey.
Yeah, R2-D2 and Poe, or if you want to use Pilot too. I mean, Pilot with the exposed probably be even better. But I mean, again, you could use any combination of that. Resistance Pilot's available in the Galactic War store, so he's easy to get. Rey. I don't know if that gift card promotion is still up, but you can pretty much get a 7-star Rey if you go buy a gift card right now for $50. You get a 7-star Rey plus $50 you can spend on anything for Google Play, and then you also have R2-D2, which is somebody that you should have anyway. I mean, that's a character you got to go for if you don't have them, right away. So again, I mean, you may need to work towards some of this stuff to complete that content, but I mean, because of the fact that the benefits there are really good, especially whenever the event does come around, you're going to want to work on these characters, not just for this, because they're also great for light side territory battles and just raids in general. I mean, you can use a resistance team for anything. So I would say that again, if you don't have Rey or BB-8, you can pretty much use those characters and get by. But next question.
All right. Here we go. We got some coming in now. All right, we have one from. Make sure I didn't miss any. Okay, Kuzo Kenobi says, "Have you guys tried low gear zombie and low gear scarable pathfinder? Um, make them both fast, and they both revive. And Asajj goes nuts. Have you ever tried a low gear zombie and a low gear scarable pathfinder paired with Asajj?"
I have not. You probably have.
No. I went a little overboard with Scarecrow Pathfinder a long time ago.
I did too.
I
actually
that Viston ship
I
way
felt
back in the day. I really liked that ship. And
honestly, when Scareful Pathfinder first came out, like the first day, or like the first time we were able to unlock him, I remember Sky got him to like gear 11 the first night, and I saw he made a video, and I saw like him with that AOE offense down, and I fell in love, right? So I was like, oh my god, this guy's amazing. So I literally I worked on Scareful Pathfinder right away as soon as I could, and I never really had him used at like a low tier or low gear level. But I can see there being a benefit to using Night Sister Zombie at a low gear level. I see a lot of people do that, especially even in people that spend a lot of money in this game. Like they prefer to use her at a lower gear level. So that's definitely something you can do. I have enough shards now.
The drawback to Pathfinder is he is like a replica of Kenobi to gear, right? He's a pain to gear. It takes tons and tons of carbonis. But this is actually a good suggestion. It gives you at least a use. Like you can unlock Pathfinder, and just that way you can at least use the Biston ship. It's not going to be great, but you have it available for that Chimera event. You'll have the Biston ship. It won't be OP or anything, but and that kind of give you a use for a low gear character. And zombie, there are definitely benefits to that. I mean, we see it every day. The low gear zombies. But that would be a good way to get Asajj really, really going, especially in the raid. It's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got.
I got. I can get Special Forces TIE Fighter. I just got Kylo Unmasked to 5 stars. And
yeah, that was pretty. Like I said, that was pretty nice of them. That they kind of threw us a bone here in terms of the First Order. They're relatively easy to get.
I mean, they put them in good spots. I mean, they also didn't make them conflict with anything else, right? Which I thought was kind of interesting. They created a new spot for the Special Forces TIE Fighter and the Special Forces TIE Pilot, where they could have just made it alternate with Colonel Stark or something else. They could have just chose another spot for it to alternate with, but they ended up giving it a whole new location. So like every time you go in there, you're always going to either get First Order Special Forces fighter or a ship, right? So it'll make farming that character a lot faster, which is great.
Well, those two alone are going to make the dark side territory battles so much easier. Even the ships, because a lot of those ship territories on the dark side, they're really, you got to fill them so you get the boosts on the character side. Like I think it's P3 or P4. Like the ship platoons directly affect the entire phase for your character battle. So they're really important. When you start getting to P5 and P6, you need every boost you can get, and this is going to help fill those platoons. Because we're a pretty strong guild. We're reaching 140 million, and we have. There's times we can only get like one boost, like 2 out of the 6 on the platoons in P5 and P6. That cripples you. So this is going to help big time in terms of Darkside TB, just for the platoons alone. Not even discussing how good the First Order team is themselves. They're totally a viable option now to start getting those 4/4s. That Kylo, he's been in a few top 5s. That Kylo, the unmasked Kylo Zetas.
Oh, absolutely.
Pretty good.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, absolutely. All right. What's the next question?
Abner Dune, what are you currently farming?
Right now, as you can see, I'm farming Kylo Ren Unmasked, and I'm also farming. Obviously Wampa out of that store. I'm at 6. About to be at 6 stars with him. I'm farming First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter out of that store. I finished Colonel Stark, so I have Colonel Stark at 7 stars. And my next farm is going to be once I'm done with Kylo, I'm just going to finish up Sith Assassin. I need 70 more shards for Sith Assassin to be 7 stars, and then I'm going to go. I'm going to go for the. I'm going to go for the Ewoks. So I'm going to probably finish up Log Ray and Paplu when I get an opportunity here. I just haven't had a chance because it seems like something interesting or something more interesting comes along. I mean, if Wicket, gets dropped in a location, I'll probably speed farm him also because I want to be able to get access to that extra Zeta. Really right now, I've been getting Zetas a lot faster since I finished ships out of the fleet shipments. So I'm hoping to just find more avenues to get Zetas from, which will help out, in the long run. So. Let's see if we get another Zeta right now. Maybe I get 2. Who knows? Let's see. Give me Zeta. Give me Zeta. 2 Zetas. Bam! 2 Zetas.
Got him. Yeah, I'm just kind of doing the same thing. I'm farming the first order shards. Well, I got to finish Sith Trooper and Cantina, then I'll move to Kylo. But just kind of collecting the shards. I'm very slowly gearing them. They're not like my top priority. And I'm about to, like I said earlier, I'm 8 shards away from Yoda, and then I'm going to go on like a little gear spree and really deck out like the characters I use on defense at TW, like my Bays, my CLS, my Ray, my R2 still needs a couple pieces of Gear 12, and those are pretty important. You put the health pack on R2D2, and he's just going to spread the love to everybody else. So that's a great investment. The med pack, all the pieces on R2, because not only do they count for him, but he's going to spread some love to every light side character. So those are good investments. Just shoring up and kind of completing a few of my existing characters. That's about it. It's not going to be Rose. I'm not going to be gearing Rose. All right, next question is from Mr. Darth Bob. What's up, Bob? He's asking for a good counter to the Admiral Akbar and like Hermit Yoda teams. Just basically CLS just gets called in on all the assists, like the Akbar, CLS, Hermit Yoda, GK type-ish teams.
Akbar, Hermit Yoda teams. So he's looking for a counter against those teams. So he's seeing a lot of those teams.
That's probably why Akbar is still in the meta. People run that team. I see it on defense and TW every once in a while.
I would say a good counter to that team. Would be. Obviously, Night Sisters would be a good team against that team. You could run a Rex lead because of the speed increase that you get from Akbar. So a Rex would pretty much counter his speed that he gives to the rebels. You could also, I think an Empire squad would be pretty good against them too. So I think that you could run like let's say Grand Admiral Thrawn lead with Shore Trooper, Stormtrooper, Death Trooper, and Director Krennic, and that's a pretty good team. But again, if you don't have all those characters, you could still run a pretty good Empire squad, without them. And obviously, teams like Resistance or a CLS-led team could beat them as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Anybody that does days as well. I think Death Troopers are nice. Like the Thrawn lead is good because CLS has been going so much. Because anytime anybody uses a non-attack, basically CLS or Akbar are going to go, and CLS, every time he goes is going to attempt to land 2 debuffs. And if you've got that Thrawn lead, you're going to get 20% turn meter for each of those. So I think it almost kind of trumps the Akbar speed lead in that situation. And I'm not sure if Maul would cut it, but this character we got, Holdo, even out of the box at 3-star, maybe Gear 8, Gear 9, she could probably come in there and drop that AoE daze and kind of just stop that altogether. Like there's going to be no assists, so it's no turn meter gain. So that's pretty good. I hate that. Low gray, I guess, is an option if you want to try some Ewoks, but that's kind of a far-fetched suggestion, I guess. But Thrawn lead is probably the most practical.
I would say so. We're actually facing I'm actually facing a Rex lead in arena right now.
All right, next question comes from the Tor. Does a Zeta Krennic lead Empire? Let me start that again. Zeta Krennic lead work on defense and TW comparable to a Thrawn lead?
Zeta Krennic lead, comparable to a Thrawn lead? Absolutely not. No, Zeta Thrawn lead is going to be way better than Krennic lead. Krennic lead on paper looks really good, and again, when Krennic first came out, I was really thinking that was going to be the new meta. I thought that a Death Trooper with a Zeta Zeta with a Zeta Krennic lead was going to be the way to go. But the what ends up happening is that he doesn't ability block unless, what is it again? They have to be debuffed already for the ability block to work. There's something that holds it back that makes it like not really worth it. Like if it was just ability block, or like if it just worked the way it, like I thought it would at first, then it'd be great. But because of the fact that it's tied to like a debuff, or there being a debuff there, then it's yeah, but his basic is that he has a deadly basic attack. I mean, as a character on a squad, I mean, with let's say a Zeta Death Trooper, because of the benefits they get together, I mean, he's a tremendous addition to a Empire team. But again, as far as like his synergy with, I'm sorry, as far as his leader ability is concerned, you're talking about a drawback, with him. I'm going to go there right now. We'll just take a look real quick. Director Krennic.
Well, he gives protection regeneration.
Right. Empire allies gain 25% crit chance and 25% potency. Debuffed enemies who are critically hit. Am I looking at the right thing? Yeah. Okay. Empire allies gain 25% critical chance and 25% potency. Debuffed enemies who are critically hit during an Empire ally's turn suffer ability block for 1 turn. This effect can't be resisted. Empire allies recover 10% protection whenever they score a critical hit. So, I mean, the crit chance is increased, and they suffer ability block only on a crit. So, I mean, if you were to, put a whole bunch of crit chance mods on the team, and, I guess maybe, or run crit chance and crit damage, and you run his leader with the 10% protection, I think it would actually be not that bad nowadays. I think when the leader came out, it was because of the fact that there was no like, it really didn't work well against, let's say, like a speed team or something like that. I think now that speed's not as important, I think it would be a little bit better. But again, it's not, because it's tied to a critical hit. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher. Also, again, there's just a lot of anti-crit stuff going on now. You got characters with foresight, like Rey Jedi Training, that spreads foresight to other characters. And you got characters that like General Kenobi that spread crit avoidance, or so I mean, or crit immunity. Sorry. So I mean, I would say, he's got an interesting kit. But it's very crit reliant, and if his leader ability, if let's say you had the right mods on the team, I could see it working. But again, it would have to be, you'd have to really go out of your way specifically just to build this team, and I don't think it's worth it to do that.
Well, the Empire leads. I mean, there's just such a littered pool. There's so many of them, and whichever one you decide on is the one you're pretty much married to. And I think Thrawn is the better choice, just for all areas of the game. I mean, Krennic's not bad. It's just not the best option, I guess, because I've looked at it several times myself and kind of theory crafted. But just for the point you just mentioned, you do have to kind of go out of your way a little bit, to make that work. Just it's up to you. Thrawn is the better option in all areas, I think.
I agree. Next question. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to word this. So moving on events, what are the teams we should focus to farm first, like the Thrawn, CLS, Master Yoda? Okay. He's basically asking how to prepare his roster for the events. He said excluding 7-star Phoenix. I guess he's already got that. So if you've already got your 7-star Phoenix, or if you don't, you should at least prioritize Ezra and Kanan, because they're going to help you get Yoda, They're going to help you get Palpatine, the Rebels, and they'll also help you get Thrawn, which in turn will help you get the Chimera if you have Thrawn. So I would definitely invest in Kanan and Ezra, at least up to gear 8. You probably need 9, and you probably want to go all the way with Ezra because he is a useful character. Just look for little combos, obviously any character that's included, like for the like the CLS events. I mean that's mandatory who you have to use. So Old Ben is also another Jedi. So there you can tag team multiple events with Old Ben, Ezra, and Kanan. So you don't have to farm as many characters, and you're getting quality characters. So I would definitely say those 3 are probably going to be mandatory for you if you're trying to kind of do everything at once. Those three characters should probably be your priority. And Old Ben's in the guild store now, so
Yeah, I agree.
That would be my advice. Those 3 characters first.
I agree with you 100%. I think that if you're telling me that you already have the Phoenix characters and that's the direction you're going in, then yeah, I mean I would do that. And if you're talking about an order in which you should farm the legendary characters, then I would say you probably want to go. Being that you're already at having, he doesn't have Grand Admiral Thrawn yet.
Well, that is what he could be asking as well. I had a hard time. If you had to put them in order, which is more important, Thrawn, CLS,
and he already has 7-star. He already has 7-star Phoenix.
He said excluding 7-star Phoenix, so possibly.
Okay, so
I'm not sure what that means exactly, but
if you're asking what order you should go for the legendary characters in, then there's a certain way you're probably going to have to go for some of them because you need some of them to get the other ones, right? So for example, I would say just in like which are the most important. Obviously, CLS and R2D2 are the 2 most important. But can you go for CLS and R2D2 right away? You're going to want to probably go for. You're probably going to want to go for, especially if you're saying you have the Resistance characters already. You're going to probably want to go for Thrawn first. Then you're going to want to make sure you get together the Rebel characters for CLS. CLS's characters though are relatively easy to get. Again, you can get Old Ben out of the Cantina. He's also in the store now. You can get Leia out of the Squad Arena shipments, and you're going to need R2D2 to get CLS. So you're going to want to get your Rebels together anyway for that. We need to get R2D2 Rebels, right? Maurice?
What do you need? Empire? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, is it Empire or Rebels? Is it Empire or Rebels for R2D2?
No, Rebels for Palpatine. Empire's for R2D2.
Okay, so you need Empire. You're probably gonna have to put together. Getting together a solid Empire squad is going to be kind of it's so weird looking back at like the path or the trajectory that you should take, because it like just happened so organically originally. Like trying to look back now and think to myself, like if I had to start from scratch today, like where would I start myself? I would have to say that you probably should do it through the natural progression of things and just go through the way that they came. So maybe you go with Yoda first, and then you go with Palpatine after that. Then you go with, who was the third legendary character? Was it R2D2?
Yeah, but Yoda can wait. Yoda is not legendary character-esque anymore. Like he just doesn't cut it. And just like you can naturally get, if you rush to get him, you're going to end up with,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make
7-star, like Qui-Gon Jinn even nowadays, it's not really mandatory. You can naturally get Ezra, Kanan, Old Ben, characters that are better characters and they're just usable in other factions, and you'll get Yoda eventually. There's no rush to get Yoda. Like he's not going to make or break you, but he will set you. If you're a new player and you go balls deep and try to get Yoda immediately, it will set you back because you're going to be in an arena with like a 7-star Mace Windu, deep cough. You don't want to do.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So
yeah.
I think you can't go wrong with going Rebels first. But yeah, I would say you want to go. You want to get Emperor Palpatine to get to get that Empire team together so you can get R2D2, and then when you get R2D2, you can get CLS. So I guess then the path would be, if you have the Phoenix already, getting Thrawn and Palpatine first. Getting together a nice Rebel squad would be the first thing I guess you'd farm. Then you get Palpatine, and then once you have Palpatine, you're obviously working towards farming some of these other Empire characters, like you're working towards getting Grand Admiral Thrawn with your Phoenix characters. You're also working towards getting some other Empire characters, like farming maybe Stormtrooper, or farming Snowtrooper, or farming TIE Fighter pilot is a fantastic option. I think you can get him out of the Cantina node, so you want to get him, and I think he's in a pretty cheap node at first, right? I think he's like, is he?
TIE Fighter pilot, yes.
Yeah. So
yeah, just like TIE Fighter pilots, for example, you mentioned Rebels, Biggs, Wedge. Not only are they good characters, but they're also pilots. Like if you're preparing for these events now, you kind of want to plan it out to where the characters you're going to be using have multiple uses in the game. That's kind of a newer, for a newer player, it's very overwhelming, yes, but there are options out there that you can utilize and really get you all the legendary characters on the cheap. Whereas like when these characters came out, to me, like you have to farm them, and it just they were only like this. Some of the Jedi I used for that Yoda event, going back to that, are not good characters, but like I had to farm them because there just weren't very many available. There's tons of characters that are pilots and faction based, multiple factions they can be used in. So just kind of plan smart and plan ahead.
Agreed. And what's the next question?
All right, Jolly Pants here. Let me see if I can. Oh yes. Do you think with the easy placement of the new First Order that they are foreshadowing a requirement coming up within the next month or so?
Yes.
Like Snoke.
Yes. Yes, I don't think it's. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. I mean, I feel like I don't think it'll be this month, because we've already kind of gotten a hint that it's going to be Empire related or Sith related or something like that this month. But I do think that and they said it was expanded universe. I don't think we're going to be getting Snoke this month or anything like that, or Hux or anything. But I think that looking towards March, we could possibly be seeing. A requirement for some of these characters to be needed. So, I mean, if I were you, I would definitely, if you have the ability to go for, Kylo Ren unmasked or anybody like that, I would start that farm pretty much ASAP. I mean, I don't know. I think the character is just worth it overall as it is. So, I mean, either way, if you're looking at some of the if you're looking at the viable leaders that are available to farm from Cantina node, especially, he's probably one of the best bangs for your buck right now out there as it is anyway, because I mean you can get him for 10 energy at the Cantina nodes, and he's instantly a good leader in arena and in dark side territory battles. I mean, he could pretty much, if you have a pretty decent, let's say, Kylo Ren Zeta, and then like a regular Kylo Ren, and then you also have maybe who knows, First Order officer, or First Order Stormtrooper, or FOTP. He instantly makes that whole team fantastic. So. Again, I think that we'll be seeing. I think we'll be seeing a First Order meta sooner rather than later, and whenever that time comes, I'm sure he'll be a part of it.
Oh yeah, I agree. But unfortunately, we talk about that, so those characters will be included. So it's probably going to also include the First Order Executioner, which is probably going to be the panic farm.
Oh,
if I had to guess, he would be the panic farm of this. Any sort of event there, because it'll just be released. They'll give you like a week and a half to farm them out of one hard node, and then get your 7-star Snoke or whatever character it's going to be. So that's going to be a pain, but
they'll definitely be required to get First Order Executioner without a doubt. It'd be probably the only requirement. But we'll see.
All right, Nathaniel Morgan asks, How do people get so much prestige? You were saving it for 2 months for Chimera, still not enough to max. I also had a problem with prestige. I actually had to buy a little bit out of the arena to kind of keep up with Chimera.
Well, people get prestige because when you have everything farmed out of the Squad Arena store, there's not a lot of options, right? And for a while, there wasn't credits either. So, I mean, I actually have a ton of prestige because for a long time it was either not farm anything or farm prestige. So there were no credits there to get from the Squad Arena store. There was no converting shards to the shard shop to get gear. Really, so I mean, other than if you wanted to get the characters that were coming out periodically at that time. So I think that the main reason that you see a lot of people that have prestige saved up is because for a long time, if you were done, farming those characters out of the Squad Arena store, your only option or your go-to really was getting some extra prestige for whenever you get the chance to level up your other capital ships, or if they add a new capital ship. So, I mean, if they added the new capital ship tomorrow, I'd have enough prestige to get it done without a doubt. So,
well, it is frustrating. I actually went through it when Chimera came out. I didn't have enough. But it's if you don't have all the characters out of the arena store, don't farm prestige, because there is only 4 capital ships, and you are eventually going to catch up just through the natural progression of the game. I know it's frustrating to sit there and watch the prestige like tick up, like 10 things a week, and it takes you like 3 weeks to get an ability finished. But if you start farming it, you're gonna catch up, and then you're gonna realize like, well, I could have had all these characters, my ship would have been done anyway. Just get all the characters out of there first before you start worrying about prestige, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you want to get the characters out of there first before you start worrying about prestige. But again, I was doing it at a different time. There was no, now that there's credits there, I wouldn't have farmed prestige. I would have farmed credits instead, because credits you can level up mods with. Credits are more beneficial, but the prestige was all that was left. I didn't know they were going to add credits to the Squad Arena store. So I ended up just using it on prestige for a while. So I happen to have like some stocked up prestige. But if you're, unless it's, just, you have so much currency you don't know what to do with it, I'd say just hold on to it or spend it on credits instead.
Thane Kyrell asks, should I go all in on Ewoks for TW offense? If you have every other faction in the game finished and complete the Gear 12, then you might want to go.
Yeah.
He's already got the first order, I know for a fact. I'd say Ewoks are very in-game, I have nothing else to farm faction, in my opinion. They're fun, they're cool, I just think there's so many better factions,
I love the Ewok synergy. I love the team. I think the Ewoks, do have a place in the game. I think you can use them in TW, especially to take down some teams that are a little bit depleted, or weaker teams that don't necessarily have all the Zetas they should have.
If you have strong mods in a Wicket, you can get through some CLS teams with like a T-Bow and Paplu type of combo, because it kind of the stealth eliminates the counter. But that's a big investment. You can't just roll in. I mean, you have to be relatively well modded. Nice gear. You have to have a 7-star Wicket probably.
I think because of the benefit for the extra Zeta that you get from Endor Escalation, I'd say yes. I mean,
yeah.
But again, you have to, it has to make sense. I mean, if there's other characters that you can get that are going to be more beneficial to you for dark side territory battles or territory wars, then I would focus on those before Ewoks. But I mean, as you can see, Ewoks are the last thing that I have to work on, and that's something I'm going to work on later. I'm saving them for last, right? So there's a reason for that, and it's because there's other options that are more important or more viable at the moment.
Well, Wicked is in the shipments now, so we'll really see, in maybe another month when people, start to get the Wickets done, and to really see how they are at full potential, because there's not very many people with maxed out Wickets right now just floating around. So it'll be interesting to see what the community does with them.
There will be somebody who goes Ewok crazy, without a doubt. And he will let you know about the Ewoks, especially if they're good.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
No, that's pretty much. There's a few questions we've kind of touched on them. Answer on some of the other questions. I see your battery's going to conk out on you soon, man. So
yeah, I think it's about that time. I mean, I appreciate everybody sticking around, especially after the technical difficulties. I'm sorry we had a problem there in the middle. I'm glad we were able to get the stream done. We will be back again next week. Next week we'll be back on Saturday night, so looking forward to that. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll also be, talking about, some of the new. I'm sorry. By that time I'll have a little bit more work done on my Wampa, so we'll be able to take a look at a 6-star Wampa, and I'll have possibly a Zeta on him at that time too, so we can try that out in arena and see how that goes here on the stream. But I'll definitely let you guys know as soon as I get some more information on what's coming up for my trip later on next month. If we get any kind of hints or any info that I'm allowed to share with you about the upcoming content, then I will do that. But definitely looking forward to seeing you guys on the next one. And may the force be with you guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks.